Hello everyone, Mr. Octi here, and today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to be starting up this podcast series where what I would like to, hopefully every day, have one of my friends with me and we just talk about a random piece of entertainment that we all enjoy and know much about. And yeah, so today I am joined by my friend Adam, and we will be talking about the Dead Space remake. It came out about last year on January 27th. Um,
Yeah.
a- and I've played the game I have over 4 days of playtime on that game clocked in on Xbox, and I have 35 hours clocked in on PlayStation. You might be wondering, there's not that much replayability. It's not an open world game. What are you doing? Well, I grew up with the original Dead Spaces. I even had a Dead Space themed birthday party uh, back in 2011 for Dead Space 2 when that released. And on that day, I do remember getting the tiny Dead Space 2 plasma cutter replica. Now, of course, when I was a kid, it was full size to me. Um, and I absolutely love that thing. In fact, I still have that, although it definitely shows wear and tear nowadays. But the point is, I love Dead Space. I will always love Dead Space, and I will always be
Yeah.
replaying the games. It's actually how me and my friend Adam here met. Uh, I was doing some TikTok videos at the time, and I had my Phase 1 Isaac Clarke cosplay. Um, and you actually commented on one of my videos being like, oh, or something along, I'm so glad someone's doing a Dead Space cosplay, I'm going to follow because of the cosplay. It's at that point until now we've grown to be best buds, and that was over 3 years ago.
Exactly.
um so I know we went off on a little tangent at the beginning, but as far as the Dead Space remake is concerned, I'll let you kick start it off with one of these categories to get us going.
All right.
Audio, visuals, or story enhancements? Which one do you want to talk about first?
Ooh, honestly, let's go with what award it actually won. The audio. The
Uh,
audio engineering was absolutely fucking amazing in that.
yes, I will admit the audio was a huge improvement from the original game because
You act. Yes. Sorry, you keep going.
the ship, like the Ishimura, would creak, and you would have the hallways, and you would hear like corridors away Necromorphs break through the vents, and it would always keep you on the edge of your seat because you don't know what's coming next because of that intensity director that they have built into the game, where it will just play random sounds just to keep you on your toes.
Exactly. That and the just ambiance was breathtaking. Everything just either went from silent to fucking creepy to absolutely horrid. It was chef's kiss. It was amazing.
Yes. Now, I do wish they actually won that award. I know you said they did, but they
Oh, I
actually
thought they did.
no, they lost that award to Hi-Fi Rush, which,
Bro.
okay, I know this is a podcast about Dead Space, but this still counts as talking about that. When the Game Awards came out, I will forever die on this hill. Hi-Fi Rush should not have been in the same category as all those other games, because how are you going to give a game an award, right, for best audio design when the whole game is based off of music? That's the whole premises of that game. It's going to have good audio because it's based off of music.
That is true. That is kind of cheating.
And then you want to compare it to a horror game that relies on ambiance. Well, it doesn't solely rely on it, but one of the factors in it is that it keeps you on your toes, again, with audio design. Also, all the audio designs for the mechanics of the game, the doors, the vents, the weapons. the weapons had such a big overhaul from the original Dead Space game.
Well, I mean, yeah, because it's a true remake. It was made from the ground up again because, Visual Studios was shut down after one of their failed Star Wars game that never even made it to market, thanks to EA.
And also thanks to Dead Space 3, but
We
uh,
don't talk about Bruno.
we don't talk about Bruno. No, 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 no. We do not. But I would have to say I agree with you with the audio being breathtaking. However, the only piece of audio that I feel was not as good as it could have been was the plasma cutter in the remake. Kind of sounds a little dinky compared to the original heavy hitting plasma cutter from the original. And that is something that a bunch of the fans that I've seen on subreddits complain about is the plasma cutter sounds kind of like a toy and not like an actual piece of engineering equipment or mining tool.
Huh. No, actually, you are right there. As much as it hits like a cannon, it honestly doesn't sound too. Yeah, no, you're right. I would definitely give that to you. Where like it doesn't sound as powerful as it actually is.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. As soon as you get that thing fully maxed out, that thing two
You're
taps.
a god.
You're God. You can literally slap around necromorphs onto the ground with the upgraded fins. And
You don't even need to.
you don't have to cut off the limbs. You just beat the shit out of everything.
Just act like it's trying to take your money. Okay, it's trying to take your money, and instead of giving it to it, you're just gonna haymaker it. Just keep fucking spamming haymaker, and you're gonna be fine.
Yeah. Um. So let's see. I don't really know much else to talk about the audio except that it was magnificent, except for that one gripe that I have for it. Doesn't take away from the game being, in my opinion, a true modern masterpiece. It just the plasma cutter sounds weak, but it's not. Um,
Yeah.
and I understand why they did that. You don't want to copy and paste everything from the original. So you want to make it sound a little different, like your take on the plasma cutter and how you think it would sound. Um, so I'm not really too mad about that, or I'm not really mad at all. It's just I feel like they could have made it sound more heavy hitting. I guess I'll just roll us into the next category, and that is gameplay improvement. And let me just start off by talking about the weapons, okay? Every single weapon in the remake, except for one, and we'll get to that, actually feels like you're doing something and it has a purpose. And thank you, EA, for making the flamethrower an actual good weapon to use. Because in the original game, I avoided that thing at all costs.
You're definitely talking about the fucking force gun for the bad one, though.
Yeah, yeah, I am. I am going to be talking about the remake's Force Gun. Uh,
We'll
now,
get to that later.
yes, yes. Put that to the side for the last one to talk about. Um, God, that's such a terrible weapon.
Oh, it was a god awful.
Uh, which I mean, I get it. And okay, we'll talk about that after.
Yeah,
Next
yeah, yeah.
weapon I want to talk about your bread and butter, the best weapon in the game as soon as you start the game, the plasma cutter. The iconic weapon from all of Dead Space returns in such a unique way that Isaac actually has to assemble it at the start of the game. It's not a full actual ready to go weapon. It actually looks like it was put together at a workbench, which it was. He had to attach it to the um what would you call that? The grip? The grip
I would
part?
say the lower to the upper.
Yeah. The
That's usually what you would say for gun parts.
yeah. Yeah, but hey, I actually kind of like that, not gonna lie. I like
Oh
the
hell yeah,
whole
it's like Dead Space 2.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Only without you having to watch someone get ripped to absolute fucking shreds while you try to assemble a weapon.
Yeah, and in that game, it's not a plasma cutter; it's a tissue laser. Because that form of the plasma cutter, in quotations, is a medical purpose for the game,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
which it makes sense as to why it would be able to cut through organic material. It was literally designed as a medical equipment as a tissue laser, which kind of has me thinking, uh, that guy laying on that table, and we're going to take a little detour to this one scene from Dead Space 2. That guy laying on that table, so he was having surgery with that tissue laser before Isaac, like, did the thing and took it and then put it on his flashlight grip. And you know how it, like, shoots? Like, you know how the plasma cutter shoots. Does it
Yeah.
just shoot him like that, like, on the table if he was going through surgery?
That's the thing, no fucking clue. Because like what was it? He was apparently asleep, and that's all you really get to see is just the actual like lasers that are the sights technically for the weapon.
Yeah.
Just aimed at him, and he's like, "Where the fuck did everybody go?"
Yeah, so in his sleep, is that thing just going douche, douche, just lines, just getting absolutely pelted by plasma
Actually,
energy.
probably not. Looking at it, because you add the handle and trigger mechanism like to your flashlight, and then turn that into a fucking a semi-automatic. I'm thinking it's just a like consistent laser that peels away or slices open the skin like a scalpel.
Yeah. Also, uh, before we head off of Dead Space 2, we could actually make a whole other video about Dead Space 2, and I'll get
Fuck
to
yeah, we
that.
could.
Um, the last thing I want to talk about for that is if that guy actually survived, he was screwed. His chest was open. He was having open heart surgery. What was he supposed to do, and how is he actually going to escape Titan Station in that condition?
Easy, easy. He grabs all the medical gel you could fucking afford. No weapons, just medical gel. He'll be fine.
Medical gel, yes. Too bad they don't have biofoam from Halo ODST.
Oh my god, yeah.
Uh, But okay, so that's the plasma cutter. The next weapon you get in the game is the pulse rifle. Now the pulse rifle actually does what it's supposed to do, like an actual assault rifle would do. It is technically one of the worst weapons you can ever have, and I kind of like that about the pulse rifle. Is that in the original, the pulse rifle was like dismembering limbs just as good or if not better than the plasma cutter. In this game, it's little bullets peeling away at the skin and bone, and it takes like multiple rounds just to get through that, and then they're rushing at you. And then yes, you have the grenade launcher attachment as your secondary fire, but that chews through ammo. So you kind of have to be like, do I waste 25 rounds shooting, or do I knowingly use 25 rounds as a grenade launcher and just duke this thing at the necromorph? And I kind of like, once again, saying it again, that it's not that good of a weapon because you're supposed to dismember the limbs. A traditional firearm is not going to be good at dismembering the limbs. Case in point, if you have seen the movie Dead Space Downfall with
Oh, they
Alyssa
show that heavily.
Vincent's, huh?
I said, oh, they show that heavily in the movie.
Yeah, with Alyssa Vincent's security team having trouble actually fighting off the necromorphs and actually leading to like two of their members dying because all they're armed with is just pistols. They are not good at dismembering limbs. And one thing I do wish that would have made a like debut, at least in the gaming aspect. We kind of get it in the Dead Space mobile game, so I kind of and we get to see a variant of it in Dead Space Downfall. I wish we could have gotten a plasma saw, like from Dead Space
Oh
Mobile
yeah.
or Dead Space Downfall. That would have been pretty cool to have the option to do hand-to-hand combat. in the game. I can see why they didn't though, because they wanted to stay true to the original as best as they could, and obviously a plasma saw was not in the original. I understand that. That's fine. I'm just saying it would have been pretty nice to have that in there as like, hey, we're staying true to the original, but here's some new stuff we added in.
I completely agree with that, especially with when you play with what the fuck was it? The in Dead Space 3, the hydraulic knife that is no fucking good.
Oh yeah, yeah. God, Dead Space 3. I'm not looking forward to recording that video. That
Oh, we don't talk about Bruno.
no. Uh,
It's
the
kind of
next
bad, but it's not good.
no. The next weapon that you get is the Ripper, if I'm not mistaken. I believe so.
Yeah, no, it's the Ripper.
And the Ripper, I mean, I guess the Ripper kind of acts like the plasma saw in what I would assume the gameplay would be like. It's literally just a chainsaw, pretty much. I mean, it has the ricochet secondary fire, and let me tell you, the ricochet secondary fire never fails to hit me while I'm using it, and I never use the ricochet fire at all ever. It's so pointless.
Yeah, honestly, for the Ripper, it's still actually it packs more of a punch than the original does.
This is true, yes.
It easily just cuts limbs off like in the original it took like 10 seconds to cut a limb off of like I would say what the evolved ones or whatever you call them, like
The
the
elites,
advanced.
the
Yeah,
elites.
the elite ones versus like in Dead Space Remake it only takes like 3 seconds
Yeah,
and that's like halfway upgraded.
yeah. So it's definitely a viable weapon to use. Uh, I I'm not gonna lie. I used the Ripper extensively. I think through like two of my runs. Um, because it's
Oh,
just a solid weapon. And I will say this much: if you do a Dead Space remake Impossible run, plasma cutter, Ripper, contact beam, pulse rifle. And let me explain. Save and hoard all of your plasma cutter ammo until you actually need it. Okay? The whole game, alter between using a pulse rifle with its grenade fire only because you know for a fact you're going to do damage with the grenade function, then use the Ripper as your main form of attacking, and if you need extra help with bosses or the drag tentacles, take out the contact beam. That is what got me through my Dead Space Impossible run. Um, and now I have the foam finger because of it, and the I forgot exactly what it was called in the game. The silver suit after you beat it on impossible mode. I don't.
honestly, I would say for me it was the definitely the plasma cutter just got me through everything.
Yeah, I mean they literally give you the best gun. It's not even a gun. The best mining tool at the start of the game, and the best like weapon that can
As
get you through
soon
the
as
whole
it's
game.
upgraded all the way,
Yes,
oh,
yes.
melts through like butter.
Then the next gun. I keep saying guns, but the next weapon that you get is the line gun and the medical deck. And the line gun, just like the original, pretty solid. Don't really use the secondary fire too often, not gonna lie. Because I don't really see the point of like setting traps for the necromorphs where I can just take them out right then and there. Um,
Yeah.
but it is definitely it's not that good of a weapon. I mean, in the original, it melted through necromorphs, but it was
Well, yeah,
slow
they also
shooting.
changed the alt fire mine method.
Yeah, they did.
So instead of it being like a timed explosion, what it turned into was an actual like trap you could put on the wall that had fucking trigger lines.
Yeah,
That was the worst fucking thing I noticed. with the
Yeah,
line guns.
yeah, it definitely needed some work, or it needs work. Um, I hope they improve upon that if they do a Dead Space 2 remake, which I'm sure they
They
will.
might.
This game has it, it has to have shown that EA that Dead Space is back. We want Dead Space content.
And the best part too is it's one of the only games that came out besides like say Resident Evil 4 remake that was actually fucking finished.
Yes, yes. Because they actually cared about this game, which we'll get to the community support section of the podcast. The next weapon that you get is the contact beam.
Oh god.
The contact beam, oh my god, they actually made it a beam that gets shot out of it. Because in the original, it's more like a hand cannon, if you want to compare it to that, where you have to charge it up and then it shoots. And then the secondary fire is just slamming the ground and just having everyone be staggered or, just blow up that's
Yeah.
standing around you. Um, so I definitely appreciate the whole heavy hitting actual laser beam shooting out of it, because it's literally in the name. It's literally called the contact beam. And the secondary fire is is the old primary fire from the original by just charging it up and shooting a very high, powerful ball of energy.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's honestly really good. It's just the ammo for that thing. Oh my god, it goes out worse than the pulse rifle.
I mean, I've actually have had multiple runs where I've been stacked with contact energy. But
Really?
then again, I also play strategically to where if I can use the environment to kill a necromorph, I do it, or stasis and run if I don't necessarily have to fight. Because I want to conserve all of my ammo as best
Oh
as
yeah,
possible.
you play the safe way. I do not.
You just play, if it's in front of me, it dies.
No, I play. Hey kids, it's like the recess in Dead Space 2. Come here,
Oh
motherfucker.
no!
So best part is that trick always works. If you can't get away, always throw a haymaker or three.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. God, I love in Dead Space 2 where you can just punch the little kid necromorphs and he just die.
Exactly. Like they're that weak.
Yes.
Then you got to take out a whole like daycare of them, which sucks.
Yeah. Which honestly, Dead Space 2 had some balls making like kids into necromorphs.
Yeah, and then the next game they had to replace it with aliens.
Yep.
At least for the little babies that exploded,
Yeah.
which
Uh
again makes sense.
yeah. And then and then I think this is the final weapon, if I'm not mistaken, besides the impossible run reward. The dreaded force gun.
Fuck that thing.
I can see how Jacob just died.
Yes.
So I understand why it's weak but in the original, that thing, it literally just dismembers every limb with one blast and just sends them flying backwards. In
This
this,
fucking one.
it just peels off skin, and you have to shoot
Yeah,
them maybe four
fucking minute.
times. Huh?
Like fully leveled up. Hey, where'd your skin go?
Yeah, you should have exploded. What happened? And then the secondary fire does nothing for you. It's a gravity well. It just pulls them all together to where you can possibly switch to a new weapon and hopefully finish the job.
Yeah, no, that ain't gonna happen, Chief.
But if you don't finish them off, well, guess what? You just pulled a whole horde right in front of you.
And they're very angry.
Yeah, and they're mad. Yeah,
They don't like Papa Isaac.
I guess I can also include the stasis gun, because it is
Oh,
actually
prototype, yeah.
considered a gun because it shoots, and if you upgrade it and get the prototype stasis unit by doing all of Dr. Mercer's side missions, it does damage, and that's actually my main method of dealing with the wall guardians, is just shooting a stasis thing at them, and it just burns away at the tentacles, and then they just die.
Yeah, no, that works. I
Uh,
mean, shit. They kill instantly.
yes. Yes. If you get too close, off with your head. You're done.
Oh no, I'll talk about the stasis too. Like you just before I realized what it actually did, I'm like, oh god, I'll just cut off all the things. Hey, where does arms go? All I did was stasis him.
Yeah. I believe. Oh, and then the foam finger. What's there to say about it? It's a goofy weapon that goes bang bang pew pew for
Only
primary and
one issue
secondary
with it:
fire. What's that?
the fact that there's no reload animation.
Yeah. Also, another issue I have with it. In the original, it was kind of like if you aim forward, whatever was in front of you, like exploded. Not the original, Dead Space 2. I mean,
Yeah,
uh, but in this game, you shoot them and they just flop down, and it's like a very pinpoint aiming system.
that is also true.
So, dude, that thing almost got me killed on the Hive Mind boss fight because you're trying to hit that small thing with also a small, like, you have to be pinpoint accurate for it to actually hit.
Unfortunately, yes, you do.
I love in Dead Space 2 where if you just aim in the general direction, they just explode everywhere.
Oh my god, yeah. Sadly, I never got to use the Dead Space 2 version, but yes.
I think all you have to do is just beat the game on Zealot difficulty.
Really?
Yes. And it's not as bad as you sound, because at least in Zealot difficulty, you're not limited in the amount of saves, that you have.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
like in hardcore. And oh my god, I did it. I did hardcore. Having to
I
strategically place my 3 save points throughout the entire game, and if you die, you go back to your last save point. Oh,
better than Dead Space 3's hardcore.
I don't even remember Dead Space 3's hardcore. I did it.
Oh, what it is you have to play it all in one sitting.
Oh my
One sitting,
god.
or you have to restart from the beginning.
Jesus. No. No. Absolutely not.
Like it
Unless
instantly restarts.
unless unless I have either you or my other friend is in the Dead Space and we just sit there and grind and have nothing to do that day. Cuz I'm sure it's also permadeath where if you die, you go back to the beginning.
Oh, most likely. I would just, since I already have the foam finger, at least in Dead Space 3, I'm just gonna go, hey, how's it going? Bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, I used to have the foam fingers in Dead Space 3, but then they're I don't know what happened. They're not there anymore. Also,
Bullshit.
I absolutely hate this fact. In Dead Space 3, for the foam finger, aka the devil horns, I hated that they made an update for that game solely to make it to where the foam finger uses ammo.
I mean, ammo's so hard or so easy to come by, but yeah, no, you're right.
Like, why? The whole point of this is so it's infinite ammo, one shot kill. You worked hard for this, here you go.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. Like it doesn't use any ammo in any other game besides 3.
yeah. Uh, Any other finishing touches on weapons before we go to gameplay
Actually,
improvements?
yeah, but like for the pulse rifle, I should have said this earlier. Like I like the way that they went with Dead Space 2's alt fire instead of Dead Space 1's alt fire,
Phew.
where it was the grenade launcher instead of the umbrella, basically.
Yeah, just Isaac kneels and just sprays everything and hopes for the best.
Exactly. Like it's good against the horde, but damn, do you waste ammo?
Yes. Yeah,
It's
I'm very
that
glad.
no good.
Yeah, no. I'm very, very glad they did not bring back the original's alt fire. Uh,
Exactly. Thank good.
okay. Gameplay improvements. Oh my god, let me tell you about the gameplay improvements. However, one thing I will say, if you're very nostalgic and you want to experience the remake, but with the original's controls, you can. You can put on the setting to where it has the original Dead Space 1's controls, to where you have to aim in, then press A to reload. Screw that.
Or you can go Dead Space 2.
Or you can put Dead Space 2's controls, which, 2 and 3, which is very more comfortable. Uh, but you can also put your own custom layout on there. Whatever button configurations you want for that, go ahead. They're not stopping you. They give you the tools to do so. So
Yeah.
that was definitely a nice welcome change when it came to gameplay and the accessibility that they had. Um as far as like actually playing the game, it's definitely it feels a lot smoother than Dead Space 1 original because it's not as clunky because it has, actual technological advances over what was limited on the Xbox 360.
Well, that and everything's also in one shot basically, so no loading areas.
Yes, I love that you can actually explore the entire Ishimura like without using the tram to get like to begin and end missions. I loved how you can like absolutely ignore that tram system if you wanted to and walk from one end of the ship to the other with adjacent corridors that were specifically designed and built in for the remake to give like depth of, world building,
Yeah, exactly.
which, actually gave us veterans more spots to explore and see for the first time without just a, you know, not a reskin, but technological, not technological, graphical upgrades.
Yeah, exactly. Like that, and also like it actually made sense of the story. Like, oh hey, shit, tram's fucked. We can't send it back. So instead, you're gonna have to walk through the whole entire ship and unlock every area.
Yep. Uh, Also, the fact that Isaac Clarke talks now, I personally was a very big fan of that because him being
Loved it.
silent in the original for like I get it, it did work, but there were some moments where Isaac should have said something but didn't.
Oh, heavily. Like all they had Gunner just fucking record grunts. That's
Yeah,
all they made him do. Man's got paid for that.
yeah. Although, and I will toot my horn a little bit here, I've died in the game maybe a total of 4 times throughout all my playthroughs. One was on my first playthrough because I just got cornered and overwhelmed, and I was not used to the remake's whole loot system and, combat system just yet. The second was due to a bug in the game where I went to go fly through a fan that was not moving, and when I flew through it, I died because I guess the model of the fan I guess had a bug and refused to actually show it was spinning, but the gameplay had it rendered that it was spinning. Uh and the other 2 times, uh I don't think I know one of them was due to Dead Space Impossible mode being just outright bugged, and that was a known issue that they addressed and fixed. At least I hope.
Oh
Uh,
no, they definitely did.
and then actually, I think I only died 3 times in that game. I never died to the hive mind. I can say that for a fact, even on my first playthrough.
No, I never did in the high fight.
Although,
Even when the precision sucked for the like weapons sometimes.
yeah, um, you know what's crazy? The fact that I can say I died more times to the eye poke machine in Dead Space 2 than uh, Dead Space Remake entirely. And the only reason why I died so many times to the eye poke machine in Dead Space 2 was because I was like a kid and I didn't understand it.
I only understood it like after I'm like, oh okay, just get all the way down to point one, you'll be fine.
Yep. Uh, gameplay. What? Do you have anything you want to throw in as far as gameplay improvements?
Fuck. I don't know why I'm yawning. So basically, I would also like to add the fact of how seamless it went from cutscenes to gameplay.
Yes.
Like, especially the fact that they actually added cutscenes. The
Yeah.
only one that was kind of useless was, Jacob's death. Rip the fucking idiot that decided to try to use a force gun against a nail gun.
Yeah. Well, like, what did he actually expect to accomplish there? Except,
I don't know. Make
like,
him naked?
like that's another thing. Like, I'm glad we didn't get to see that. But, like, in the game, if you shoot, like, a necromorph with clothes on, it blows off those clothes and shows, like, skin and muscle and shit. Jacob Temple shot Mercer point blank with a force gun, and all it did was just hurt him a little bit and just push him up against the glass.
Hey man, Mercer built different, I guess.
I, Mercer's got that titanium doctor suit. Like, even when he got crushed by the drag tentacle up against the marker, his suit fine, no rips, no tears, nothing.
Exactly. Like the only thing that was weird was the fuck is it? Basically, his death compared to like the original, so lackluster.
Yeah, like all he does is just get crushed and then dragged away, and that's it.
Exactly. Like through my first playthrough, I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to see how he actually dies, and then he's just never there.
Yeah, it's
I was
like,
like, what is this?
yeah, like I think in the remake they tried to do a more like a take of he doesn't want to turn himself yet. He wants to bring the ship to Earth first, then die.
I guess like it didn't really help, especially with you know he just killed or let everybody die and get infected.
Yeah,
So man's had legit no other plans.
yeah. Um. Also, one thing I have a nitpick of, I hate everyone going, "Oh, Dead Space loses a point because Nicole isn't hot, or she's
Who gives a
not."
shit? She's like fucking late 30s, maybe no 40s.
Yeah, because they were like, "Oh, her actor is old." No shit, people age, and they wanted to bring back the original cast. Now, everyone seems to forget this. The the model they use for Nicole in the remake is Tanya Clark. She was Nicole Brennan in Dead Space 2. She is not the original Nicole from the original Dead Space.
Exactly.
And if people actually looked at Dead Space 2, they would realize Nicole was already looking like an older woman in that game. And yes, everyone's like, "Oh, Isaac's dating a grandma."
He's
Oh,
fucking old too.
Isaac Clarke is 43 years old canonically. Now, I will admit, they made, I mean, I know they made Isaac like look more like Gunnar Wright, which look, I'm all about putting the actual actors in the media that they're a part of, okay? That's great and all. But why does Isaac look 20 in the game?
That is kind of true. He only has a little bit of like uh age to him. Not
Yeah.
much.
Like in the original game, you can see Isaac's gray hair. Or okay, you know what sums it up? People basically say they swapped Isaac and Nicole because in the original game, Isaac looks old, Nicole looks young. Now in this game, Nicole looks old and Isaac looks young. And I've been seeing all over Isaac's dating a MILF. That's his sugar mama. It's like I get it, guys. Haha, very funny. But at the end of the day, these are still actors, and you're making fun of their appearance in the game. They did a great job. And as far as the point of, oh, I don't like this game because Isaac looks too young. Isaac has his helmet on for 90% of the game.
Unless you have the infected skin on
Yeah, which then his face is just piercing
in
through
that
the
helmet.
helmet, and then when he takes his helmet off, he takes his whole head off.
Like, bro ain't got no head.
God, I hate. Look, that's another thing. The DLC suits, or the deluxe edition suits. I loved all of them except for two. And let me explain. The infected suit. Now I get it. Everyone loves a good, like, alternate costume of our main character zombified, dead, brutalated, whatever. Okay?
Oh, Mark.
It's just. I feel like, to me, I don't want to play as Isaac Clarke dead body. That defeats the whole meaning of Dead Space 1 to me, is that he is the sole survivor of the Ishimura, right? So if
Yeah,
you play as him in that infected suit, there's no survivors. He's just a necromorph with a mission.
he's a necromorph that, you know, he's rising up. Okay, he's against the hive mind.
Against the hive mind. And then the other suit, now, this suit has grown on me, and if they literally would have just took the fucking hands off of the helmet that make it look like it has antlers, I
I
would
got.
I would love the suit, the lone survivor suit.
I love
Why?
it.
I get it. It's supposed to represent Isaac going fucking insane and actually being trapped on the Ishimura and the marker signal getting to his head, and he's doing anything and everything to survive. Like how he has body parts all over him, how he has pieces of like warning signs welded onto his body for armor, how
And
some of the
also, marker scroll fucking describing Nicole and her
yeah
death or whatever.
yeah. But okay, I did kind of hate the Venture suit a little bit. However, it has grown on me a little bit, and hate is a strong word. I don't hate it. I love the design. It's just I feel like it had no place being in Dead Space 1. Like I feel like that is a prototype suit to the advanced suit. And if you would have told me we find that on Titan Station, I could see that actually happening and being there. It's just the Venture suit being on board the Ishimura throws off the aesthetic to me. And yes, you can argue,
Yeah.
what about the soldier suit? The soldier suit does the same thing for me as well. However, it does fit in within the universe because the soldier suit has been seen canonically boarding the USG O'Bannon and Dead Space Aftermath. It's just this Venture suit kind of came out of left field and, you know,
I think it was made for the game we don't talk about.
mm-hmm.
The game that fucking came out for no reason.
Yeah.
Promised so much but fell.
Yeah. No. However, the only what I'm also glad about when it comes to this remake is all the merchandise, man. Us Dead Space collectors have been eating good for a year.
Yeah, we have.
Uh,
My wallet hasn't been though. I mean, what?
no, my, it's definitely done a number on my wallet as well. As much to a point to where I am now cut off from buying Dead Space merch right now.
That's
Speaking
why I
of,
got you.
yes, you got me, bruh. Thank you. But anyways, speaking of Dead Space merch, to end off the podcast, because we're going into the 45-minute mark, um, go check out my latest video of Dead Space Gear Store update of 2024. I showcase everything that has been being sold throughout the year, as well as new stuff that they have just added. Also, I do showcase the Dead Space Figma Isaac Clarke by Good Smile Company. Um, I I'm honestly saving up for that so I could put my pre-order down very slowly for it because I've been waiting for like another Isaac Clarke action figure to come out for so long. The last one we got was like the NECA figures. Well, no, that's not true. The last like Dead Space action figure was the Play Arts Kai Isaac Clarke from Dead Space 3, and ever since 2013 to now, we haven't had a single action figure unless you want to count the Pop-Up Parade Isaac Clarke from Dead Space Remake, which I do own. But as far as like an articulated figure, this is it. This is what we have so far. And I really hope that they do more 3-0s, Play Arts Kais, and maybe some hot toys of Isaac Clarke like they did in 2013. So, with that, Adam, do you have any closing remarks that you would like to say?
Yeah. Don't buy the Dead Space merch. It's mine. I mean, what?
Don't buy the Dead Space merch, it's mine, huh? Well, no, they need to buy the Dead Space merch to boost sales, man.
Fair enough. So
Oh,
we can get another plasma cutter replica.
yes. Also, last thing, everyone, go to the Dead Space remake, not Dead Space, well, Dead Space Gear Store, and you can leave suggestions for merchandise. Me and Adam have been messaging EA at least once a month about they need to add a remake of the Dead Space Rig backpack from 2011 because that thing is stupid expensive in the aftermarket. There's no way I'm spending over $1,000 on a fucking backpack. So, EA, please, the fans want a remake of the backpack, okay? And we want a true remake of a plasma cutter replica like the Epic Weapons plasma cutters. Now, I get it, you guys just dropped the Dead Space plasma cutter shadow box, which technically, yes, it is a replica of the plasma cutter, but it's not full size. I did the measurements comparison to my Epic Weapons plasma cutter. It's not even half the size of that. So please drop a Dead Space remake plasma cutter design as a full replica like the 2011 plasma cutters from epicweapons.com. But anyways, that's all I have for today's episode. Um, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.
Let's go. Bye bye.